Oh, that's right. How you doing this afternoon? Hey, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Meet me at the diner. And boy, do I have a great show for you this afternoon. I've talked about pits before, but I don't think I've ever talked about I have talked about this, but there are pits of different types. There are NASCAR pits. There's mud wrestling pits. There's the Palmetto Innovation Technology Center, commonly called the Pit, over there in Due West, South Carolina. And they are here today to talk to us about all the great things happening over there. You know, this program is, the mission of it, I just want to read you what the mission is. The mission of the Due West Robotics is to educate and inspire young people in all things STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics related. We aspire to be the robotics program that rural robotics organizations around the world emulate while inspiring young people to believe they can become the science and technology leaders of the future. This program is amazing. If you listen to me on the radio, I know you've heard me talk about it. If you've listened on Saturday mornings, we've actually had, over the last several years, we've had some of these students that were on their way to Texas to compete in some of these big competitions. It is amazing what they've done. And my very special guest this afternoon is Charles Angel. I didn't know his wife was a doctor. And Dr. Angel is not on the floor with us here this afternoon. I don't know where the angel is, but Charles, her husband, is right here. And he majored in computer science, and he worked for electronics arts. He's worked Boeing, the Greenwood Genetics Center, and he founded the Due West Robotics back in 2012. And he is president of the 501c3 nonprofit. How you doing today, Charles?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. We've talked about doing this for years,
Yep.
and finally you have a building being built and you're here. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I think that's great. So then we also have with us this afternoon Ed Rawlings. He is the Due West Robotics board member, and he's the director of safety and mentor of the Due Westerners team. He graduated from Clemson University and with university honors in mechanical engineering. He's a retired engineer from Eaton, but he has done one of my favorite things, and people are going to say, this is crazy, Ann. He's competed in NASCAR, both locally, nationally, and regionally, stock car racing. I got to talk to him after that. Maybe I'll have him back to come back and talk to me about this. That would be cool.
You need to. Yes, absolutely.
How you doing today, Ed?
I'm great. It's great to be here. Thank you.
That's great. So you told me before we went on the air you're not racing anymore, though, are you?
Not just currently, no.
No?
You never know. May get back into it at some point as a car owner, but right now, no.
Not now. Okay. Well, maybe you can hook me up with some car drivers, and I could go interview and everything.
Yeah, see what we can do.
All right. That sounds great. And then Matt Meyer is with us here today. He graduated from Lander with a business management marketing from Lander, and he's going back to Lander to get his master's in business administration. He was part of the first robotics team over there in Due West, and he gave at the ribbon cutting for the building, he gave to me a most inspiring speech. He also one season was the producer of Emerald Sports, so the football. So without further ado, Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ann.
Oh my
really
God,
fun.
it's that radio voice.
It's really fun to be on this side of the desk for once. I don't have to deal with all the switches and knobs over there that you do.
Right. People have said it's like, in this case, because not only are we on the radio, we're on Facebook Live, and we're streaming, so you're trying to make sure you're getting all this done. But if you have questions, 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. Please let us know. But, well, I was going to start with Charles, but I think Matt should tell us his story a little bit to set us up why this program is so important and what you see as the possibilities and what it's done for you, Matt.
Well, I mean, like you said, like Charles said, he started back in 2012, so I was 9 at the time. 22 now. I'm getting old. But 9 at the time, and so by the time I graduated, I had been doing it for half my life. I'd been alive 18 years, done it 9 years, gone through first Lego League, which is when you're younger, it's kind of first starting out, you're building with Legos. I moved on to First Tech Challenge, which is kind of the first high school level where you're building smaller metal robots. And then my final year, I moved up to First Robotics Competition, which is where they build like the really big robots everyone thinks about. And so obviously growing up, being a part of that was one of the most formative experiences of my life. I mean, it definitely made me who I am today, and it gave me a lot of skills later on in life. But I think something that makes me maybe more interesting than sometimes other graduates is that I didn't go into a STEM career afterwards. I obviously, like you said, I went on to be a business major, and business is such an integral part of First Robotics that people don't really think about. And so I think that it's so much more than just STEM. It's so much more than just robots. It's about, even from the earliest age, it's about building good people. Because in the very first level of First Robotics, they have core values. And basically core values is, there's a lot of them, but there's really 2 that stand out to me that they hit home. And the first one is cooperation, which cooperation is a blend of 2 words. It's basically the spirit of cooperative competition. So, yes, we're at these events, we're trying to compete against all these other teams. Obviously, we're trying to win. But at the end of the day, we're still trying to help each other out. If someone needs a robot part, I'll give it to you. Like, if you have a question about something we did because you want to implement it, absolutely, I'll explain it to you. And so from a young age, you're being put in these competitive environments, but you're also being taught to compete with other people. And then on top of that, you bring in the aspect of gracious professionalism, which is wait
a minute. Gracious professionalism.
Gracious professionalism. As a 9-year-old, that was a really difficult word to say. Okay, I stumbled over that for years. But gracious professionalism essentially is, in everything we do, we're going to be professional. And no matter what happens, whether we win, whether we lose, whether our robot scores the most points it can do, whether our robot blows up on the field, we're still going to be gracious and we're still going to be professional and keep our composure, because that's what we need to do in order to be successful in life. And so really what you don't realize when you're 9, 10, sometimes 14, 15 years old is you don't realize that First is giving you these building blocks to being a successful professional. It's building these soft skills. It's building these teamwork skills. It's building public speaking. All my people always ask me how I can like talk into a microphone and not get nervous. Well, I've been talking in front of panels of judges 6 to 8 times a year since I was 9 years old. So this is second nature. And so I think, obviously, yes, you're going to learn a lot of those hard technical STEM skills by doing robotics, but I also think, too, there's so much more that you can learn from the soft skills, from the people skills, and just so many skills that are going to make you successful once you graduate from the program.
So what are you looking to do when you get out of school here, as you graduate with a master's, going forward with a master's program?
Yeah, so I'm here for my MBA. I actually have a graduate assistantship right now with Landers Athletics Department, and so I am the.
That's business.
It's actually not. So
just thought
it's kind of I obviously I'm a management marketing major. All of my internships and work experience throughout college, aside from my part-time job at Sports Break, has been working for athletics teams, because that's what I want to do. So I could have been a sport management major, but by the time I would have switched, it would have put me behind. So I stuck with my major. But I do want to go work in athletics. So I'm a graduate assistant for Lander Athletics right now. I'm under our sports information director, and so I work a lot on game days. I'm responsible for setting up our broadcasts, making sure our music's running, and just really making sure everything at the field that day that is technical and has anything to do with like not the gameplay itself, but any other extra stuff, that kind of falls under me, and I'm in charge of making sure that happens. And then also, too, I have a match day team lead position with the Greenwood Triumph Soccer Club in Greenville. And what I do for them is I go on game days, and I help them. In the mornings, I'll help them set up, and then during the game, I'm pretty much the one who makes sure that everything that happens on the field happens when it's supposed to. So, like, if we're having a halftime game, I make sure they have everything they need, the contestants are there, and everything runs smoothly. And so that's kind of where I feel like robotics really helped me with that, because A, sports is a chaotic environment, and robotics oftentimes is a very chaotic environment. So I got used to kind of dealing with the
Under pressure.
like kind of chaotic mode. And then also too, it's just management. I feel like I personally gained a lot of that when I did robotics, because I held a lot of leadership roles over the years, and so I kind of think I learned a lot of that management and leadership that has helped me later on. And also too, marketing, because robotics teams have to do marketing, and you don't really think about it until you get into your marketing courses in college, and you're like, I know what you're talking about because I did this in high school without recognizing I was doing it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and I got a little story about that,
Go
marketing
ahead.
wise. So that very first
This is
year,
Charles speaking
Yep,
over here.
sorry, yes, Charles Angel. That very first year had the boys. We actually met and practiced out of our house. My wife was very happy when we were able to move the big tables and the robots and everything out of the house. But we were at the beginning of the season. We were like, we need a team name. That's one of the big things, and of course this marketing. So the boys get together. We're all around the table, and it's like, so what do y'all want to be named? Because every decision, we want the students to be making those decisions, the students to be doing the work. That's our philosophy, and they own it and they do it. So they sat around that table. They kind of ran around with different ideas, and finally it was Thad. I think Thad said, "You know what? I'm going to throw out one word, and then Matt, you do the next. Ethan, you do the next. John Paul, you do the next." And I was like, okay, well, let's see where this goes. And so first one says the, all right? And the next one says tornado. And the next one says of. And then the last one says ideas. And they're like, yeah, that's going to be our name. And I'm sitting there, I do a face palm. I'm like, the tornado of ideas? What is that? Oh, my goodness. And I'm like, that's, but, at the same time, it's like that was their decision. We went with it. 3 years into the program, with what they had done with getting new students, Savannah Wojciechowski kind of put together the marketing of the tie-dye shirts and all kinds of different things. Year 3, whenever tornado ideas came in there, everybody knew they were there. It was because they were marketed. They had the flair. They had everything going with it.
They were a tornado.
They were a tornado of ideas, and they were going to compete and be very competitive no matter what happened.
Well,
it became a brand of its own.
Well, I'm going to flash a picture up here. Matt's going to just bury his head. Here he comes. There it is. Yes, with the little, there you go. Matt's right there in the back with the hands pointing down there. Mindstorms. They've got 4 boys, right?
Yep, that's right. Thad Shelp, Matt Wire, John Paul Bell, and Ethan Angel. Yep.
Ethan Angel. There you go. So that was the start of it all. Now, Charles, why did you decide to do this with your child?
Yeah, so I took Ethan to a robotics workshop up in Clemson area. Shout out to Tina and Mark Stokes, who ran that program. Ethan went through it, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is putting right what I want to put in front of Ethan.
How old was he?
He was 8 years old at the time.
Okay.
We just don't have those kinds of opportunities here in rural South Carolina. So I was like, can we get, I think Ethan would be great. Would love to get him on one of your teams. And they're like, well, our teams are full. We can't do that, but you should start a team. I was like, well, how about I just follow you guys for 1 year just to see what it's like and do it. And they're like, no, you've got to start it now. Do it now. And finally I caved.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it and do West, right? That's what we do. But finally I caved and I did it. And you go through that first season. We had the 4 boys. We went to the competition, did not win a single award, did not advance to the state championship or the regional competition.
Wait a minute. They didn't give an award to everybody just for an award?
No, that's beautiful, I think. Yes.
That's the best thing about it is they don't hand out participation awards. You got to earn it.
You're right. I like it.
So,
yes.
But at the end of the day, and I remember, I'll go tell a little story if that's okay, but
sure.
We're at that competition, and we're sitting there. We had it set up, we're like, we want everyone to have a chance to drive, to set the robot up on the table and do it. Ethan and John Paul did it one time. I think Thad and Matt did it the next time. And then they were like, so who's going to drive the next? And that's always the prestigious thing. Everybody wants to drive and that sort of thing. So we were out at lunch, sitting around the table, and I was there with Matt, Ethan, Thad, and JP, and then of course Adam Wire. He was helping me coach that team that year, and sat around there and said, well, what do y'all think? Again, trying to put it back on the students. What do y'all think? What do y'all want? And it was Matt, stepped up, I believe, and he was saying, you know what, I think Ethan and John Paul have it down, and they've got, John Paul was able to do this and that, and they hadn't had a high score throughout that day.
Right.
You get 3 tries, your highest score goes. So we ended up settling on that and saying, all right, well, we'll send Ethan and John Paul up there. They ended up knocking it out of the park, ended up in third place in the end in the entire competition for their robot score.
Wow.
And it was such a success. And to sit there and look back and say, the kids actually decided that.
It wasn't the coaches.
It was
saying
not
that.
the coaches. It was, and it was just such a great feeling, such a great story. And it's like, you know what? They are so mature beyond their ages at this time, and they have progressed so much during this time. And it just felt like, God saying, it's not just for your kid. And that's why I started. It was for my kid, but we need to get this out to a whole lot more people. And, here we are today, and we have hundreds of kids involved every year now. So.
Well, this is terrific. Now, we're going to go back and talk. But what does that? What does your T-shirt mean right there? Charles has this T-shirt. It is the.
I didn't realize we were going to be on Facebook Live. I could have shaved and brushed up, but you get to see the real me, so that's quite
right.
good.
That's right.
So that's WSBG. It's the World Series of Board Games. I turned
Monopoly and stuff.
No, not Monopoly. Heat, Pedal to the Metal, Cascadia, Arc Nova, all kinds of these great board games that everybody should get into. But last year I turned 50 years old. My good buddy Josh Wicker turned 40 years old. Our wives were extremely gracious to us and allowed us to go compete at the World Series of Board Games last year. And unbeknownst to us, our wives were even more supportive to let us go again this year. So we'll be going out there in about 3 weeks until Las Vegas to compete with the top board game players in the world.
And you really compete with the board games now, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're not out there for all the other stuff.
No, not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Well, how'd you do in your competition?
I came in second in every game that I played. So.
Well, that's pretty good. Well, then.
Yeah. But being the competitive nature, it's like, you know what? I want to win one of these times and continue on. You got to win every competition for multiple rounds to be the top. And I'm telling you, there's one fella who played. It's called Terraforming Mars. Last 3 years, he's won it. He has never lost a game of Terraforming Mars, which is a very complex and tough game to win, and he's never lost in Las Vegas. It's crazy. But
wow. Well, this is we'll have to have some conversations here about some of these.
I'm trying
things.
to actually get the kids more involved in those games too, because at the end of the day, what is a board game, right? It's kind of a little bit of a puzzle. It's a little bit of strategy, and it's trying to be as efficient as you can with the moves that your resources that you have. Same thing that you do in robotics, and if you can translate and become efficient at these board games, and you start thinking in that same mindset, you can do the same thing in robotics. You can do the same thing in business. It's just. Yeah, board games are a fantastic way to intellectually grow.
That's cool. Well, I just wanted to mention that because you had told me that off air before we got started. So so Charles, what is the direction? What is happening here over there in Due West? What's going on?
So the program has grown ever since the beginning, and even during COVID, it did slow things down, but we still had a lot of momentum, and we were one of the programs that really didn't just stop at that time, which was wonderful. But here we are. COVID did slow our plans down because we wanted to have a building back at that point, and we were thinking kind of small at that time. We were like, maybe 2,000 square foot. Kind of grew to about 3,500 square foot. Like, what can we make happen? Robert Stoll, who's on our board, and he is he's our lead on the construction side of our future pit center. He kept asking the question. He says, "Is this big enough? Is this big enough for the future vision, or is this going to be something that we'll grow out of in 2 years?" And it's like, yeah, we'll probably grow out of that space in 2 years. Well, let's go bigger. So we look at 5,500 square foot. Robert comes back. He says, "Is this big enough, or are we going to grow out of it in 2 years?" Yeah, we'll probably need some more. All right, well, and here we are today. We're building a 16,500 square foot building, and
Is it big enough?
Oh. so not for the entire vision that we have, but it will support a great deal of what we need to, especially for the upcoming years. It absolutely will, and it's actually going up. Ann, you were at the groundbreaking,
right?
I'll send you pictures afterwards if you haven't seen them already. But they're actually putting the steel up. You actually see the whole frame of the building now, and oh my goodness, it's probably the most exciting thing that I've felt since my kids were born. So
you know what I think is is most interesting about this is the way that you have gone about this, because originally you just were going to try to buy a place that was already built,
Yes.
something like this, and you couldn't find anything
Yep.
over there in Due West. And then you bought this property, right? And what did you do? Sell off part of it? And literally, I mean, that's a great story.
It is a great story, and again, I'd like to, if it's all right, give
Sure.
credit to God. I mean, He has made things happen that we never could have even dreamed of, from the get-go. But we bought a piece
Touched
of
by
property.
an angel.
Touched
Here we
by-
are.
touched by an angel, and you gotta be careful because I can get emotional about some of these things, but I'll try to hold it together. But back in 2020, there's a property called the Old Carver School. That Old Carver School, way back in the day, was a segregated school. Later on in that time frame, it became one of the first integrated schools in Abbeville County.
Wow.
And then afterwards, once everything
What was
became,
it? Who was it? What was it named for? Carver. What do you know?
I'd have to look at it. We got the history. We have a history
Okay,
professor.
okay.
Yeah. So we're getting all that. But we had this 14.5 acre property that we had the opportunity to finally do. So I was mayor of Due West. I wanted to do something with that property back then. We could never get in touch with the owners. Lee Logan was the mayor before us. Same thing. He always wanted something to happen because it was becoming a dilapidated, and it still is. It's an eyesore out there right now. Ralph Patterson, mayor before Lee Logan, same thing. Always wanted to do something. We could never make something work. Here we were, community leaders, trying to do something. And finally, it was actually Bobby Clark brought it up in one of our meetings, and he said, "Well, what about the Old Carver School property?" And we ended up looking into it. We were able to make some connections. Lee Logan's part of that as well. So 2 former mayors kind of working on this. And we finally got the connection we needed, and we purchased that entire property for $60,000. Again, doing this, and knowing that there's probably asbestos. How are we going to clean this up? What are we going to do? But we took a little leap of faith with encouragement from others. It wasn't, but I'd say about 4 weeks after we got the contract, had a fellow from Atlanta call me on my cell phone. I still don't know how he got my cell phone number.
From God. Okay, good.
That's right. And he says, "Hey, I hear y'all have a contract on the Old Carver School in Due West. I run a historic preservation company, and we would like to get the Old Carver School and some property." And we're like, "Oh my goodness, what in the world? Why is this happening?" Because we didn't know what we were going to do with that. So we ended up talking. We ended up selling them 5.5 acres that included the Old Carver School for $60,000, basically.
So you got your property
So we
for
got
free?
9 acres for nothing, no debt, and just a beautiful piece of property to work with. So yeah, that story in itself is just it's a God thing, but here we are now. We've gone through the process. We got architects to get involved. I always like to really promote that this is about the community, and the community really is making this happen. So if you think about the Pitt Center, if you look at just the square footage, we're talking about a $2.5 million project. How are we going to do that in little old Due West, Abbeville County? Robert Stoll, another, he could come up to so many different things. He says, "You know what? I've got an idea. What if we get all of our local tradesmen, we have a banquet, we feed them and show them what the program's about, and they get inspired, and maybe they'll help us keep that price down." All right, well, let's try it out. And I had no idea. I was like, well, we'll see what happens. We do that, and we had over 100, and this is with the students leading. They showed their robot. Jonah Coleman did a nice little presentation and speaking. Joel Logan showed what the artificial intelligence that they're working in, the vision stuff they were working. It was a great presentation. We had over 100 tradesmen sign up to say, "Hey, I will give you free labor or heavily discounted labor, and we will help you also get some different materials." Cut the cost by over $900,000, and that is all community. So how does Due West do this? Well, it's the community really comes together. So that
How
gets us down.
does Due West do this?
But that got it down to about $1.659 million. we start reaching out. Lee Logan is our fundraising chair. He gets a committee that includes Ed on it and many others, Amos Cunningham, Marty Patterson, so many other people that are on that, Paul Cunin, that really have gone out to reach out to corporations and see if they would help give. WCTEL gave over $70-something thousand towards the building. Hope South Credit Union, $84,000. Eaton has given over $130,000 plus some materials, and I could go. The commercial bank in town gave $50,000. All these donations have gotten us to the point where we're at.
Why did they do it? Why?
Because they believed in the vision and they truly believe in community. If you look at Abbeville First Bank, every one of them is not just Due West Robotics. They really have helped sponsor and help other events and other community. I think it's one of the differences. You go to New York, you might have a big Wells Fargo or a big old bank or whatever. They're not really truly tied into the community as much. And here we are in Abbeville County, and every one of those want to see Abbeville County succeed. And whenever they see a program that inspires them, that they know is good for the future of the county, for the future of the kids, they want to give back. And again, community, community, community.
You also got a nice grant from the state.
Yes. Craig Gagnon, Representative Craig Gagnon, Senator Mike Gambrell really went to bat for us the last 2 years. This year they took out any kind of earmarks, but they ended up securing $450,000 that went towards this program. So the state is also invested in this, and whenever the state's invested, definitely got something good going on.
Sure. And I think the people in the community, from what I saw when I was there for the groundbreaking, are just so excited to have a business that's going to help bring more business into Due West.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the same thing. So Abbeville County's been putting together a comprehensive plan that's really going to help take the county to the next level as well. Austin Walker recently said, I'm going to bring some entrepreneurs around. I'd like to share with them your story. So we'll go out to your to the new Pitt Center and share your story along with some other ones. It's going to go this, along with everyone else doing their stuff, it's going to go a long way to helping to bring in businesses, industries, hopefully in the future, and people. Yeah, good
Absolutely.
people.
Well, this is why I wanted to highlight it, because I think it's such a great program. I think now, how do people from Greenwood, can they get involved in this?
Oh, yes, and we want people from Greenwood. We have kids from Greenwood now. Matt, whenever he was in high school, drove from Greenwood to get out here. We have students from Emerald High School that are in homeschool in Greenwood, and they're involved in the program now. So, yes, Greenwood, we say that we support the Lakelands area. In fact, we did an economic development, economic impact study with Clemson, and it showed that the Pitt Center is going to bring in over $7 million into the region as far as businesses go. But students in Greenwood absolutely can get involved. First Lego League, the 4th through 8th graders, that gets started. We have students who come to our summer workshops. They get involved, and then they can apply to be on a team. We have First Tech Challenge, which we're looking for another team member or two. That's going to be starting in September.
And what
that's
age
for
group?
the 7th and 8th graders.
Okay.
It's kind of an intermediate step between Lego League and the big robots for First Robotics competition. So it's kind of a pipeline that we kind of bring everybody up and get them up to speed before they move up to the next level. And then we have First Robotics competition, which is the high school level. We have about 12 or 13 students involved right now, and we're in our preseason. The season does not officially start until January, but what we do during preseason is we do trainings. We get people certified with safety with Ed, who helps make sure that they learn how to use the power tools, they learn how to use CAD tools, they learn how to use the programming software. They help us do outreaches and to fundraise, all these things that we need to do. And we are absolutely looking. We could use another 2 to 5 students, high school students, to get involved. So any Greenwood students would be more than welcome to come out. They just need to reach out to us.
How would they do that?
They can email me at charles.angel@duewestrobotics.org. They can email our executive director, Sarah Wojciechowski. And that's
Nice, nice, easy name to spell.
Nice, easy. Yeah, that one might. I can spell it though. I did learn how to spell it before we went to Worlds in 2017.
Yep.
But her email is administrator@dewestrobotics.org.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Yeah,
then.
that's not so bad.
Right.
Go to our website. You can kind of reach out that way as well, or our Facebook page. But yeah, and we will connect you and figure out how and when we can get students involved.
Now, I suppose maybe some people carpool from Greenwood and go up
Yes,
there? Yes,
absolutely. We've got a couple of mentors that actually come from Greenwood with their students, because obviously if they're coming to Due West, it's a good 20-minute to 30-minute drive. James McPhail brings his son Harrison. Paul Cunin has to bring his son Eustace out, and then we have Gavin Jenks is involved, and they all kind of know each other, so they do take turns bringing out their kids out here, and it just makes it a whole lot easier. Obviously, with parents have their jobs, they're working 40 to 50 hours a week.
When do you all meet?
So the high school team meets right now during the preseason every Thursday from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. FTC will be meeting once their season starts every Tuesday and Wednesday about the same time. And then our FLL teams meet depending on the parents. So everything's volunteer driven. So that's always a nice thing to know too, that none of us actually get paid to do this. We're doing this because it's something that we feel is a huge benefit to these children and the community. So but the FLL teams depend on those parents' schedules.
Oh. Now, what about volunteers to help with the program? Do you need any more? Have you got plenty of people?
Oh, yeah. We can always find some place for volunteers. Yeah, whether it's helping with financials, whether it's helping with coordinating events. We don't just have our teams meeting and competing. We actually host a FLL qualifier in October. That's held at Erskine College, who has been a fantastic partner throughout this from the beginning as well, has given us space that has been committed just for us to be able to use. But they're allowing us to use the Memorial Hall auditorium for that event in December. Wright Middle School in Abbeville we will host 25 teams from around the upstate will be coming out there to compete, and we definitely need volunteers. Might be judges, might be cuers, there's so many different jobs. We usually have about probably 15 to 20 people helping out, including our alumni that always come back and help out as well.
Are you considered an alumni, Matt?
I guess I would be at this point. Still feels weird to hear, but yeah.
Well, this is great. We are talking with Charles Angel, Matt Wire, and we're going to talk to Ed Rawlings. But right now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. If you are on Facebook Live, you're going to hear some music. If you're on WCRS Radio, you're going to hear some great commercials that make it all worthwhile for me to be doing this show. So we'll be right back. Don't you go away. that's right. We're right back here at WCRS Radio. Yes, I am Ann Eller. Let me put, there's Ann. All right, how you doing out there this afternoon? We are on Facebook Live at WCRS 98.5 FM /1450 AM. I certainly hope if you're listening right now that you go back and watch this, because this is a pretty cool experience to have this Due West Robotics group here, and what they're doing over there is truly exciting. I hope you will like the video and share it, because we need more people to know about what's happening. You know, all you're hearing in the news is about robotics, AI, all this kind of stuff, and here we have a program that is right here in Due West, South Carolina. We need to make sure that our students are finding out about this and capturing their imagination at an early age. You know, I mean, just think about it. You could have a child that goes on and does great things, but even if they don't stay in robotics, what they learn in that, as Matt was saying earlier, is invaluable information. And what did you call that? Professional what?
Gracious professionalism.
A gracious good afternoon. Yes, gracious professionalism. You know who used to... That's from Laughing. A gracious good afternoon, the one that used to do the telephone thing. Okay, and a gracious good afternoon to you, sir. Yes, your telephone bill is overdue. Anyways, those are some of the things. So they learn a lot more than just robotics. But so many kids. I am amazed at how many kids love Legos. It just seems to have exploded as far as something. So we wanted to, Ed, I wanted to talk to you. This is Ed Rawlings. He is Due West Robotics board member, director of safety, and mentor of the Due Westerners team. You graduated from Clemson with a university honors in mechanical engineering, retired engineer, NASCAR guy. Oh, I love it. How did you get involved in this program?
So it actually went through both Charles's wife and my wife. Charles's wife, of course, is a physician. She was our family physician, and my wife was her patient. And shortly before my wife passed, she and Dr. Angel had a number of conversations about, my husband should talk to your husband about this robotics program, that he might be able to help out or do something. So after she passed, I was actually seeing Dr. Angel, and she mentioned it, says, would you like to talk to Charles about the program? Would you think you could help? I said, I'd love to, because I needed something to lean on in those hard times. So we got together, met, and I started with the building committee, which has led to the pit center. And then afterwards, the idea was to move up to FRC, First Robotics Competition, which is the highest level in First Robotics, the high school age kids. And decided to start a team, and then COVID happened. So we still started a team. We had, I think, 18 students year 18, one. Yep. And it was all virtual, but of course Matt was part of that, JP, Ethan, and this great young people. And so that team started, and we competed virtually, and let's keep this going. So we have continued to roll on. We're our fifth year with the program, and my involvement is as a mentor, helping from a practical standpoint, technical skills. I mean, how to cut a piece of metal, how to use a tool, how to measure, those kind of things. But there's also the intangible element where you want to build these young people up. You want to make them great young people and then great citizens. And that's one of the things that we're most proud of, is that we're building a future. We're building the leaders who are going to lead this area, the Lakelands, South Carolina, this country, the world, the next 50 to 75 years or more. And we're building those one robot, one competition, one student at a time, and that's our greatest reward, their success.
Their success, because it gives them the building blocks to be able to do just anything, doesn't it?
That's correct. I mean, it's like for Matt here, we talked about earlier, he's involved in finance and business. People may hear robotics or robotics program, they think robots, technology, but this program involves so much more. There is finance, there is business, there's organization, there's supply chain, there's engineering, there's technology, science, all these elements, social media, communications. All these things have to be part of it in order to make this enterprise work, because it is basically, especially at high school, it is a business enterprise that requires sponsorship, requires fundraising, requires documentation, record keeping, and how you participate as a gracious professional, how you interact with your fellow students and your fellow competitors, because these are 3 alliance team competitions. So one competition, they may be competing with a team. The next match may be competing against that same team, so they have to learn how to work.
Yeah. Go ahead. I just wanted people to be able to see you here, Ed.
It's a challenge at times,
Right.
because you have different levels of maturity, and you've got those that become in focus, and some that you have to work with socially and work with to build them. And that's part of the accomplishment. And when we do that, when we turn out these students to be great people and they're doing great things. And one example is a young lady that's been with us now, I think our 3rd year, and she started out, she was just like so shy. Like if you speak to her, she'd be like high in the corner. She was just that shy. But now she's confident. She's one of the first ones on the plane when we fly to a competition far off. She's got self-confidence, and that's just so gratifying to see that growth. And to hear from their parents, they'll her mother, for example, stopped me somewhere in a store. She says, "Mr. Ed, I want to thank you for what you did for my daughter. She is just like, she is not the person she was 3 years ago. She has grown so much, and I'm so proud of that, and so thankful for what you and the folks with Robotics have done to help her with that growth." And that's our joy, and that's our accomplishment when we see that occur.
Right. Well, I work with Greenwood Performing Arts, and we have a program. We go into the schools and do music, and it is one of the most gratifying things to be able to do a program and afterwards have a child come up to you, put their arms around you, and say, "This was the best," and you're just standing there, okay, and you're just shocked that this comes across. So to be able to have that kind of an effect on children is amazing.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful thing, and it's something I can add to my personal resume of accomplishments, that they are growing and they're doing great things and will do great things in the future.
Now, but I would be kind of concerned. I mean, I'll just be truthfully honest about these kids using this equipment and everything, saws and all this kind of stuff, and you're in charge of that. Do you ever have any intrepidation about doing this?
We always keep a good eye on them. We have adults in the room. We have people who have trained, and of course they have me, which I part of my background has been a environmental health and safety manager for a local company. I did that for several years before I retired, and so understanding that some people may not necessarily need to use a bandsaw. Some people can. It's not a problem. And basically, we have a training portal. We actually have one of our sponsors is a company out of Michigan who has an online training portal that is OSHA compliant, and we can leverage that. And we have, for example, tool training, how to use power tools, how to use hand tools, how to use them safely. And so we have organized trainings that they start off online with, and they go through and they see how to use a saw, how to use a screwdriver, how to use a wrench. And then
what a service. Absolutely. Because we have raised generations of kids that had to call somebody in to do just simple little repairs in their houses because they had no idea how to use a saw or how to use a screwdriver.
That's me. I'm one of those.
Absolutely. And then with that, we can have an on-hands demonstration of skills that we can run through our online program. They can verify that we are OSHA compliant and that we're training them properly. And basically, we're giving them a piece of raw material and say, you've used these tools. Now, make this part. Here's your drawing. Here's your raw material. Make this. We'll be there with them. We don't do it for them, but we show them, like, here's the tools you're going to use. Think about the process, because it's not as obvious as it may appear on the photo. You have to give it some thought. So we're getting them to think safely and think efficiently and turn out this part as a demonstration of those skills, using their hands and their minds in order to make that part.
Well, let me ask you something. Can they call up ChatGPT to tell them how to do it?
That can be problematic because it's not always accurate. I mean, when you have AI tells someone like glue is a great ingredient for cakes. That's can be problematic. So like we leverage our skills that we developed over the years in our training, and help those students. And if they have questions, then we'll stop and answer them. And if they have concerns, we'll stop and answer them. And not everybody wants to do this, because there are those who want to do the business or finance, but again, that some of them find out, oh, that's really fun. I like doing that, and they start getting really hands on a lot of things.
Well, I'll bet you. Well, I don't know whether kids today, but the NASCAR thing has to give you a lot of kudos when you're dealing with some of these students that you did all this NASCAR stuff.
Well, it's that experience, those years in that.
I mean, just the fact that you can say, yeah, I did NASCAR. I mean, it's some of these kids have to look at you and go, whoa.
And some do. Some like, what's that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but some do like they when they see my background and who I work for, who I competed against, who I competed with. There's those that, like, oh, this guy's got some cred.
Yeah, some cred, right?
Street cred. And he probably, there's a good chance he knows what he's talking about. So that's the benefit, that I can bring that notoriety to the program and that skill set to the program, that they know that I'm out there for their best interests, and I want them to learn and learn properly.
Now, I think we need to talk about the robots a little bit, just because, when I think of a robot, I think of robots that we see in movies and everything. And when I was out there at the pit, you had a robot out there on the concrete there, and it doesn't look like what we think of as a robot. And I've seen some of your other events. They're not exactly what I would consider a robot. So can somebody explain about the robots?
So robot can be such a broad term. I mean, you can have industrial robots that pick and place the door of a refrigerator while it's been assembled, or a car part,
right?
Or set it to a welder.
Right.
You can have robots that, basically are communication devices that drive around hospitals or restaurants. I saw one the other day that's using in Greenwood. Somebody's delivering food to tables with this robot. They loaded it up, drives to the table. Yeah. And so the robot is such a broad term. Ours are probably, especially FRC, First Robots Competition, is probably closer to being an industrial style robot, because we get tasks when the game is assigned in January, when that game comes out, things you have to do to score points. And it really is often related to what you would do in industry. It can be a pick and place game where you're grabbing something and putting it somewhere, or you moving it over here, or placing it in another place, or moving one thing from one place to another. Or it could be a projectile game where you're given a ball, like a basketball, or a rubber ring, or a frisbee or something, where you have to project it, propel it to a target or a goal. And
they used to have that TV show on the Robot Wars or something, where they're competing. What was that? That was always very interesting.
Yeah. And it's that a lot of people see that, and it's so fascinating. But what we do is probably more applicable to real life, because our students, when they learn how to build, engineer, design, fabricate, drive these robots, they're doing a lot of things that they can transition to the workplace at some point. They can learn how to program a robot that does work in a factory, and a lot of it's the same basic concept as what they're using in this robot, versus a combat robot, which is they're trying to destroy each other, or at least put each other out of commission. These robots, they're trying to accomplish specific tasks, and it's a competition.
And they have gracious professionalism.
Gracious professionalism is our goal. Sometimes in the heat of battle and competition, sometimes you have to slow up a little bit. Let's keep gracious professionalism in mind. Let's be careful. But for the most part, they're really good about how they interact, especially with their competitors and with the teams they work with. But it is really building skills, and it's in a very dramatic setting. It can be. We go to Worlds in Houston. We've been there the last 4 years. There's a 2 million square foot convention center in downtown Houston we're competing in. There are 8 competition fields competing simultaneously. There is noise, there is light, there is smoke, there are thousands, tens of thousands of people, and it is like a NASCAR race. It is like the Super Bowl. It is like the NBA Finals. It is just and it can be an intense experience, and it's something they can learn from, and it can be so dramatic when they accomplish things that maybe one time they didn't think they could do. They didn't have the confidence to do that, but now they're in the middle of this environment where if it's a local competition we go to in Anderson or in the PD area or in Charleston, or we go to the state or in the worlds. It's the environment can be so dramatic and it can be so exciting. It's that
it can be so overwhelming.
And overwhelming.
Yes.
And overwhelming. But when everything comes together, when you get that lightning in a bottle, it's just to see the joy when they succeed and see when they achieve success in the right way with gracious professionalism. It's an amazing thing. It just staggers the imagination.
You really love it, don't you?
It is the closest thing to NASCAR that I've been involved in.
I love it.
I will never forget this. Anderson State Championship, lower bracket, round 5, match 13. My ideal, it is the greatest match that's ever been in robotics. Our team, the Dew Westerns, was down 38 points. This is a 3 minutes match, and they come back and won at the very last second. And when the winning score come up, you could have blown the roof off the place. It was that exciting. People were just screaming their heads off. It was just so dramatic. And those kids, I shouldn't say kids, those students, those young people, young men and women, that's an accomplishment they will carry the rest of their lives.
Well, you can't take that away from them. That's the thing about it. Of all the things in life, that's something they can always look back on.
That's it.
And they keep having those experiences too, which is it's just unbelievable to watch. From Matt's teams, going back. Go ahead.
I will always and forever be a state champion till the day I die.
Yes. Yep. Another little story like that was that Ed's talking about. Our students were in the district championship. It was the Peachtree District, so teams from the top teams from Georgia and South Carolina. This is 2 years ago. We are on an alliance with Greenwood Robotics and Walton Robotics. They go in there in one of the matches. They set the world record high score for the entire world for the entire season. In the finals, they ended up beating their own world record. To be a part of that, how many students, how many teams around the world get to be a part of setting the world record for that score for that season? But it goes to, I think that's another one of those exciting moments that I think about. But
exactly right.
And
yes.
One of the things I want to mention, because I've been involved with promoting it and talking about it, is when you go to these championships, you raise the money to do this. I mean, you've had GoFundMe accounts. I mean, I've been amazed when you find out that you are going to nationals. You have 2 weeks, a really short period of time, and you guys have raised $20,000+ to take all these kids, get the equipment there, and do it. It's pretty amazing.
I'll go back to the community and community. Because
and there's small donations. There's a lot of $50.
You don't find out until the state championship or district championship that you're going to the world championship. We had 10 days for the last several years to raise over $20,000 every year, and we're sitting there, and then we have to commit. They're like, "Are you going to do it, or are we going to pass it on to the next team that was in line for it?" And we're like, "We'll make it happen." We'll make it happen for the kids, and the community has come through every single year. We actually have changed our plan with that, and the students are kind of working with us to develop almost a year-round fundraising and a financial model that is sustainable. Because how sustainable is that if every year you've got to come up with $20,000 in
having been in business and needed money $20,000, it can be pretty tough.
So now the students are taking that into account in their overall budget. So their normal budget was about $50,000. You add $20,000, comes out to about $73,000 just to run that team for a year, to have the housing, to be able to for feeding the food at these week-long competitions, whatever it is. So they're actually really transforming almost the way we think about the season as well. So they're actually taking that business model and making it where they want to raise that money before the World Championship.
Now let me ask you something. When a student gets involved in this, is there a charge? How do you
There
work
is.
this?
So so in fact, that's a great question. We really try to spread that across. So we think it's important for parents to have some skin in the game. We need the students not just to be on a team we need them to come and be there. If your parents paying some money, then they're going to more likely bring them on a consistent basis. So we try to set it up, and it just depends, to be about 1/3 parents paying, 1/3 fundraising, and 1/3 sponsorships. I think we've been blessed in just having more community sponsorships that have allowed us to alleviate some of the costs for parents and students as well. And we also do have, financial scholarships for need-based scholarships that community members have said, if there's a reason that a student cannot, if it's financial reasons, let us know, because we do not want that to be a hindrance. Yes,
that's terrific. So, so you've got a little, what was it, over $1 million to raise to finish this building?
300,000.
300,000.
Yep, we're at 300,000. We finished at 300. So we have enough money in cash and pledges to finish phase 1 and phase 2. That is a complete building that can be used. That 300,000 will help us to finish the exterior, the sidewalks, parking, all of which is needed.
I can see you being in mud for a while.
So, which is all really needed to really bring in these events, to bring in whatever other things that are going to bring people to our region.
Well, when you built this for competition, didn't you? I mean, you have a big open space for that. Is that right?
That is right. And one of the things that we promote is this is the first building of its kind in South Carolina. If you go to Georgia, there's 4 or 5 different centers that host these competitions and have a dedicated FIRST Robotics competition field. In the state of South Carolina, we have no dedicated field for that. It's about 2/3 of a basketball court size.
That's really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is really amazing.
But not
that
having that puts all of our teams in South Carolina at a disadvantage when we get up to that next level. So
why is it a disadvantage, Charles?
Because what teams do if you don't have a full field is you build 1 or 2 what they call field elements to test your robot on. It's not a full field where you're actually traversing these, and figuring out what kind of path would be the most efficient path. You're coming up with, you've got to kind of brainstorm and figure out what might work. You get to a competition, you try some stuff and it doesn't work. You see what other people do and you kind of improve upon it. Having a dedicated field is going to help every team in South Carolina that wants to come out and use it to practice on. They'll actually be able to practice just like they are whenever they go to a competition, not just on a single element of the game.
Well, this has been pretty exciting here today. Do you believe it's been an hour?
Oh my goodness! Wow! Wow!
Pretty exciting, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And what would you like the folks to know as we get ready to close this out? I know that you probably have something you'd like people listening to know about.
This program can be of such benefit to the community in general, the Lakelands, the whole area. We have issues at times keeping young people in the area. I mean, a lot of them go off to other places to do work, and there's opportunity here, and we feel like this could serve as an adjunct to the school system, that we can provide training that they may not necessarily be able to get in the school system, or not able to get it all unless they come to a program like this, where they can learn practical skills and then also learn social skills, learn to build confidence, and just become better young people and better adults as they go forward. It's a program that it just can create so much growth and so much positive growth. That's what we want to see. I mean, the fact that we're recognized by some of the best organizations that sponsor us, and there was individuals like Dean Kamen, the man who invented the Segway, and Dr. Lonnie Johnson, who was an NASA engineer who invented the Nerf gun and the Super Soaker and stuff like that. I mean, those two of the greatest.
Super Soaker. Well, I'm telling you what, that's high praise.
Two of the greatest inventors in history, and they've recognized this program. And
how did they find out about it? At one of the national competitions, or?
So Dr. Lonnie Johnson's out of Atlanta, Georgia. We actually saw him at the FTC Southeastern Regional speak for the first time. Had no idea who he was, but we ended up connecting with one of his folks, Bart Suddeth, and we started connecting more and more over the years. They helped our FLL team do some things, and they actually have a full field that we can practice on. So if we're willing and able to travel 3.5 hours, we can do that, and we have done that before. But it's been a great connection out there. Dean Kamen heard about us through whenever everything gets shared and everything else about the Pitt Center. And the fact of the matter is that, If it wasn't for the students, if it wasn't for the parents, if it wasn't for the community, none of this happens. If it wasn't for having FIRST as an organization, a national organization that provides these opportunities, this would have never happened. And Dean came and said, that's a wonderful story. We need to do a story about that. The Pitt Center would have never happened in rural South Carolina if it wasn't for FIRST. So.
Well, you would think that it would not happen in due West, South Carolina, truthfully,
There's
right?
not one in Columbia. There's not one in Charleston yet. We're
Yeah.
hoping that we are the model that other ones will also get built across the state. So.
Well, you know what? South Carolina does a lot of first things. We just are small and mighty, right?
That's
Small
right.
and mighty state.
That's right.
Matt, what would you like for people to know as we finish up here? I think it's been a fascinating conversation. I think a lot of people probably didn't even know about this program. What would you like to close out with?
Do it. Okay? It is worth it. To all the students out there listening, the skills you are going to learn are so much more valuable than you could learn from doing arguably any other program. I'll just say it. My experience was amazing. All the mentors I ever had, obviously I had my parents for a couple of years, so obviously they're going to pour into me.
Couple
but
years.
every mentor I ever had, they pour into you like you're their own child, and they're there to take care of you. They're there to make sure you're doing your best, and they're going to pour into you everything they know so that you can be just as, if not more, successful than them. And then also to the parents, it is 100% worth it for your kids. They will, again, learn so much. It will prepare them so much for life. It'll build confidence. It'll build public speaking, and it will just make them a better human being overall.
And
Better
they don't have to
professional.
go into engineering or STEM programs,
You do
right?
not have to go into engineering or STEM. I did not do that at all. Did I learn a lot of useful information? Yeah, I can look at, most of the times I can look at something now and kind of figure out how it works because I was around it for long enough. But you do not have to do that. You can go into whatever major you want because the skills you're going to learn are going to far exceed and surpass everything, and they apply to every aspect of life, both professionally and personally.
Well, Charles, take it home for us. Tell us what you want people to know.
What they said, I mean, that was just dead on, and I really can't even improve upon it. I love everything they've said. The other thing that I would love to add is we partner with other programs to get these teams started, so you don't always have to come to Due West. We have partnered with the Greenwood Arts Center. They have teams at the Greenwood Arts Center. Talk to Taylor Dublin at the Greenwood Arts Center. You can get involved there. They've got FLL teams. We are working with McCormick County School District right now, getting FLL team started out there. We are working with the Belton Preparatory Academy to get a team started out there. So our goal in this is not really about us. It's about really getting this out. Our vision is we really want every single student in the Lakelands region to at some point have some sort of interaction with robotics to see if that's maybe a route that they want to take for a career. So.
I think it's terrific. I think this has been a fascinating discussion. I'm so glad we finally got you on the air with us. If you'd like to know more, Charles, tell them again how they can get a hold of you.
They can go to duewestrobotics.org. That is our website, and there's some contact information there if you want. Like our Facebook page, it's Due West Robotics. Our team also has one. The Due Westerners has a Facebook page. You can reach out to any of us there. My email address is charles.angel@duewestrobotics.org.
Absolutely. Well, you'll have to keep me in the loop when you guys are going to an event or something, and I'll make sure we get it out
Yes.
there. And I would love to come to one of your events sometimes and be the reporter on the scene.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, let's do it. So December at FLL. Next April, the state championship will be in Anderson for FRC, and you will not be disappointed by either one of those.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to put it on the calendar. We'll get it all on. Listen, anybody else? Ed, do you have anything else you'd like to say in closing, or are you good?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, I really appreciate Charles Angel, Ed Rawlings, and my friend Matt Wire right here on WCRS Radio. I got to tell you, I saw him standing up there at the groundbreaking. I'm looking at this guy. I'm going, God, he looks really kind of familiar. And then I walked up to him after, and I said, I'd love to interview you. And he goes, Ann. And I was like, who is it? It's pretty
Changed a
funny.
bit.
Yeah, changed just a bit, just a bit. Such confidence and such a way of doing things. And I will always remember what you said to the kids that are doing holding the clipboard. You said the clipboard people, don't ever think of yourself any less. That's one of the most important jobs. I thought that was such a great comment that you made when you talked there. That's going to do it for us, though. This is WCRS. We've been talking about the Due West Robotics. We've been talking about the Palmetto Innovation Technology Center. If you'd like to get involved, go to their website, check it out, and make sure that you find out about it. Share this video. It will be on Facebook. Well, when we finish here, it'll be on Facebook, but it'll also go onto our website tomorrow, WCRS1450am.net. So, thank you guys for coming out this afternoon.
Thank you for having us.
This has been a lot of fun. We will now show end. Cue the music. We're out of here. Bye-bye, everybody.